Look, he's even splurging some money for a brand new suit. This is not a suit. This is my coffin.
I didn't get the money that I thought I should have done, and they will give me a raise on the Wayans Brothers, but I prolonged it too long, asked for more money. They took the contract off the table.
God dang.
Yeah.
Why did the Wayans brothers get canceled? Was there a specific scene that caused it? People still talk about an infamous moment that led to the show being taken off air for good. What happened in that scene? Why did it create so much trouble?
Isn't that the same place you got the hip?
Mm-hmm. 2 more easy payments and the whole mine.
Could this moment have been the reason for the show's end? Let's dive into the details of what really caused the show's cancellation.
Marlon Wayans, acting tape, take 1.
The Wayans Bros was a funny TV show that aired from 1995 to 1999. It made people laugh a lot. The show was about 2 brothers, Shawn and Marlon, who were played by real-life brothers, Shawn and Marlon Wayans. They were always trying to find ways to make money. Shawn was the responsible one, and Marlon was carefree and wild. Even though they fought a lot, they always had each other's backs in the end.
Yeah, what now? What, you got power?
Their dad, John Williams, was played by John Witherspoon. He owned a small diner and was very cheap and funny. His character brought a lot of laughs to the show. Many families, especially black families, loved the show because the characters felt real and easy to relate to. It wasn't just popular in the black community, though. People from all backgrounds liked the show because of its sharp humor and great actors. But
Y'all don't know me, I'm crazy, boy! I'm crazy! Brooklyn, boy, Brooklyn!
then, the show ended suddenly, and there was no final episode to explain what happened. Fans were upset and confused. They couldn't understand why the show was canceled, especially since it had good ratings. The Wayans Bros was even more popular than some teen shows. Fans were left wondering if there was another reason behind the cancellation that they didn't know about.
Here you go, bro.
One big change that upset fans was the location of Pops's Diner. In the first season, Pops's Diner was in Harlem, a place full of culture and history. It felt real and connected to the characters. But in the second season, the diner moved to Rockefeller Center in Manhattan. Some fans thought this made the show lose some of its heart. They missed the authentic feel of Harlem and felt the new location didn't fit as well with the show's original vibe.
They're going somewhere where the wine flow is free, the women are easy, and they gamble all night long.
When it comes to theme songs, which are a big deal for TV shows, the Wayans Brothers show is a great example of how a theme song can make a huge impact. The show used a classic hip-hop song, Electric Relaxation, by A Tribe Called Quest, as its theme song. This wasn't just any music. It was a symbol of culture, style, and identity. Shawn and Marlon Wayans, who starred in the show, were huge fans of hip-hop. Shawn used to DJ, and both brothers grew up surrounded by hip-hop music. You could see their love for hip-hop in how they dressed, the way they spoke, and of course in their choice of theme song. The show started with a funny retro intro, but once the A Tribe Called Quest track kicked in, it set a cool, fresh tone. Fans loved it. It felt real and connected to who they were. However, after the second season, things changed. The original theme song was replaced with a new instrumental track made by Shawn, Marlon, and their friend, actor Omar Epps. While the new music wasn't bad, it didn't have the same special vibe as Electric Relaxation. Fans were disappointed because they had gotten used to the original song. It became a part of what made the show unique. The change in the theme song wasn't explained, but it left many fans feeling let down. For them, Electric Relaxation was more than just music. It was the heartbeat of the show. Even though the Wayans Brothers show still stayed funny, the new theme song reminded everyone how important the right music can be to a show's identity. For many fans, the original song will always be the true theme of the Wayans Bros. Another struggle was the lack of recognition for the show's success. Marlon Wayans spoke out about this, saying the WB network didn't give the show the credit it deserved. Did you know the Wayans Brothers often had higher ratings than big shows like Friends in some cities? Despite this, the network didn't treat it like one of its top programs. Marlon felt the show helped make the WB network popular, but it never got the respect or promotion it earned. It's important to remember that the Wayans Bros wasn't just another sitcom. It was the first original sitcom on the WB network. Back then, the WB was new and trying to find an audience. The show's working title was Brother to Brother, but it was later changed to the Wayans Brothers. It was part of a big night of shows, including Unhappily Ever After and The Parenthood. This lineup helped put the WB on the map. Despite these struggles, the Wayans Brothers remains a favorite for many fans.
Stage.
Talking about Mick Jagger and the Rolling Stones are still out there making that.
Now, can you imagine the Wayans Brothers without John Witherspoon? Pops was the heart of the show. His funny lines, big personality, and lovable energy made him unforgettable. But what most people don't know is that Shawn and Marlon Wayans had to fight to get John Witherspoon cast as their dad on the show. It's hard to imagine anyone else in that role, but the network bosses didn't think he was the right guy. Crazy, right? Shawn and Marlon didn't give up, though. They knew Witherspoon was perfect and refused to back down. John Witherspoon, or Pops as fans love to call him, was a comedy legend. He made people laugh in movies like Boomerang, Friday, and Vampire in Brooklyn. But his role as Pops in the Wayans Bros is one of his most famous and loved.
All right. Your mom's mom is coming in town, and I gotta get out of here.
When Shawn and Marlon were working on the show, they were clear. John Witherspoon had to play their dad. But the NBC bosses had other ideas. They wanted someone else, and even suggested Danny Glover. Now, Danny Glover is a great actor, but Shawn and Marlon couldn't see him as the loud, hilarious, over-the-top dad they had in mind. They knew Witherspoon could bring something special that no one else could. At Witherspoon's funeral in 2019, Shawn told the story of how they fought for him. When NBC kept pushing other actors, Shawn and Marlon stood their ground. They said, "Nope, that's our Pops. Take it or leave it." NBC didn't like it and decided not to pick up the show. That could have been the end, but Warner Brothers stepped in. They agreed to cast Witherspoon, and history was made.
And as me and Marlon got older and started moving on in our comedy career, we was like, yo, when we do our show, that dude's gonna be our father.
When Witherspoon passed away on October 29th, 2019, it was a huge loss for comedy. He left behind a legacy of laughter and unforgettable performances. Shawn and Marlon's fight to cast him wasn't just about getting a good actor. It was about making the show something special.
Look, he's even splurging some money for a brand new suit.
This is not a suit. This is my coffin.
The Wayans brothers brought a unique and edgy style to the world of comedy. Their jokes often pushed boundaries, which made some people laugh, but also made others uncomfortable. Finding a studio to support their vision wasn't easy at first. Many studios were nervous about taking a risk on their type of humor. They worried that it might upset people or fail to attract a big audience.
You couldn't call? Huh? What, there's no phones? Oh, let me guess, your finger's broken?
This hesitation didn't stop the Wayans brothers, though. Instead, it showed how determined they were to stick to their style. They believed in their work, even when it wasn't for everyone. Their comedy aimed to shine a light on real-life issues, but through a playful and outrageous lens. This boldness won them fans who appreciated their honesty and willingness to take risks. Still, the criticism can't be ignored. Some argue that their jokes sometimes went too far or leaned too heavily on stereotypes. While humor based on stereotypes might seem funny at first, it can also be hurtful or offensive. Over time, audiences have become more aware of how comedy can impact different groups of people. This has led to more conversations about what's okay to joke about and what crosses the line. The challenge with comedy is finding a balance. It should be funny and entertaining, but also mindful of how it affects others. The Wayans brothers' style sparked a lot of these conversations. It showed that comedy could be more than just laughter. It could also make people think.
Y'all don't know me. I'm crazy, boy. I'm crazy. Brooklyn, boy.
After 5 years and more than 100 episodes, the network suddenly canceled the show. There was no final episode to wrap up the story or say goodbye to the characters. It ended without warning, leaving fans and even the cast surprised. This happened during the summer of 1999, and it wasn't unusual for Black-led shows back then to be treated this way. Many didn't get the respect they deserved. Shawn and Marlon Wayans, the stars of the show, didn't let this setback stop them. They went on to do bigger things in Hollywood. But they didn't forget how the show ended. In their 2000 movie Scary Movie, Shawn made a joke about it. His character says, "And the Wayans Brothers was a good show, man. It was a good show, and we didn't even get a final episode." Fans loved this moment because it showed the brothers understood their feelings. Even though the show didn't get the ending it deserved, it's still remembered as a classic. The Wayans brothers made people laugh and brought Shawn and Marlon's comedy into millions of homes. Fans may never get the closure they wanted, but they still cherish the memories of the show. As Shawn said, it really was a good show.
I'm stupid now.
Now let's talk about what might have led to the cancellation. The late comedian John Witherspoon, who played Pops on the show, once gave some insight in an interview. He said there were issues with pay. While he didn't share how much he earned, he hinted that it wasn't enough for the hard work he put in. Producers promised to raise his pay when the show hit certain milestones.
I didn't get the money that I thought I should have done, and they won't give me a raise on the Wayans brothers, but I prolonged it too long, asked for more money. They took the contract off the table.
God dang.
Yeah.
But when the time came, they offered him much less than he expected. He refused the offer, and this likely affected his motivation at work. It's hard to stay excited about something when you're not being treated fairly, especially when the show was so successful. To give you an idea of what he would have received at the time, here's John Witherspoon talking about how much he was paid for his role in the 1995 movie Friday. Of course, Friday was Ice Cube's movie, and he didn't have enough money at the time. But New Cinema signed on and pumped $2 million into the production, at least according to Witherspoon. The entire production blew the box office records, yielding a whopping $300 million. However, John claims he received none of that money because, in his own words, Hollywood doesn't come back to pay bonuses. Sadly, John Witherspoon's issue is a common phenomenon that affects almost every black actor or actress in Hollywood.
Isn't that the same place you got the hip?
Mm-hmm. 2 more easy payments and the whole mine.
Some untold facts about the show. Jeanette Dubois, who played Grandma Ellington, the mother-in-law of John Witherspoon's character, was 3 years younger than him. That might shock you because she looked much older on the show. The makeup team did a great job making her look like a grandma. Before joining the Wayans brothers, Jeanette Dubois was already a big name in Hollywood. Many people loved her as Willona Woods on Good Times. She played the funny and stylish neighbor of the Evans family from 1974 to 1979. She was also a talented singer. Did you know she co-wrote and performed the theme song for The Jeffersons? The song, Movin' On Up, is one of the most famous TV theme songs ever. If you've heard it, you know how catchy it is. It still makes people smile today. On The Wayans Brothers, Jeanette joined the cast in the 3rd season. She played the loving yet sassy Grandma Ellington, the grandmother of Shawn and Marlon Wayans. Her character often argued with Pops, leading to some of the funniest moments on the show. But in real life, Jeanette and John Witherspoon were good friends. They respected each other and had a lot of fun working together. It's impressive how Jeanette Dubois made everyone believe she was much older than John Witherspoon, when in fact she wasn't. This just shows her talent as an actress. Plus, she always looked youthful and beautiful, proving the saying, "Black don't crack." Jeanette gave us so many unforgettable performances. Whether she was making us laugh, singing songs that we'll never forget, or just lighting up the screen with her charm.
Then there's Pretty Woman. Hated it.
The Wayans family created shows like In Living Color and hit parody movies like Scary Movie. But their sitcom, The Wayans Brothers, often didn't get the same praise. People compared it to these bigger projects and said it wasn't as good. Still, the show had its charm and played a big role in launching Shawn and Marlon Wayans into Hollywood. The Wayans brothers gave Shawn and Marlon a chance to show their talent. It wasn't just a sitcom, it was like their training ground. They learned about acting, writing, and producing. Even though the show ended after 5 seasons, it set the stage for their future success. While working on the show, the brothers were already making moves in Hollywood. In 1996, they co-wrote and starred in, often just called Don't Be a Menace. The movie made $20 million, proving they had what it took to make people laugh on the big screen too. After the Wayans brothers ended, Shawn and Marlon kept climbing. In 2000, they co-starred, co-wrote, and co-produced Scary Movie.
Hey, yo, dog. Does this shirt make me look gay?
It became a massive hit, earning $278 million worldwide on a small $19 million budget. The sequel, Scary Movie 2, brought in another $140 million. They didn't stop there. In 2004, they made White Chicks, a comedy about two undercover FBI agents pretending to be rich white women. The movie made over $113 million and became one of the top comedy hits that year. 2 years later, they created Little Man, which also earned over $100 million worldwide. Marlon Wayans has said the sitcom was a big learning experience. He explained, "We were young kids from the projects of Manhattan, creating, producing, and starring in our own show. It helped us grow as artists and gave us the skills to become movie stars. The show may not have gotten as much attention, but for Shawn and Marlon, it was the foundation of their success." The Wayans Bros had the laughs, the charm, and the talent, but the show always seemed to fly under the radar compared to juggernauts like Friends. Why? A mix of reasons, none of them really fair. First, let's talk networks. The WB, where the Wayans brothers aired, was still trying to make a name for itself back then. They didn't have the same muscle as NBC, which went all out hyping up Friends and their other big shows. Meanwhile, the WB was juggling a mix of new and established series, and some just didn't get the same love. Then there's the audience angle. The Wayans brothers leaned into a younger, urban crowd, while Friends played it safe with a broader, more mainstream appeal. Execs tend to throw their promo budgets at what they think will rake in the most cash, which often means sidelining niche audiences. And let's not ignore the elephant in the room: racial bias. Shows with black casts have historically gotten less promotion, less visibility, and less of the big network backing than their white-led counterparts. It's a frustrating pattern that still echoes in the industry today. Add all that to a crowded 90s TV scene, and it's easy to see how the Wayans brothers ended up overshadowed. But fans know the truth. It's a gem that deserves way more flowers than it got.
What's really going on?
All right. Your mom's mom is coming in town, and I got...
If you ever watched the Wayans brothers, you probably remember the jokes that kept you laughing. Shawn was always chasing women. Marlon dreamed of being a big actor. Pops ran his diner while wearing wild outfits. And Dee was always looking for a man. But one of the funniest things about the show was something you didn't see: Shawn and Marlon's mom. Even though Pops' wife was talked about, she never appeared in any episode. This wasn't a mistake or something the writers forgot. Pops' wife was mentioned a lot in the show. There was even an episode where Shawn and Marlon thought Pops might be cheating on her. But no matter how much they talked about her, she never showed up. This made it even funnier because viewers could only imagine what she was like. Her absence became a running joke, making the show feel unique. So why didn't we ever see her? No one knows for sure. Maybe the writers decided it was better to keep her unseen. This way, the show could focus more on Pops and his sons. It also made her feel like a mysterious but important part of the family. Pops would talk about her, and Shawn and Marlon acted like she was very real, but the audience never got to meet her. That added to the fun because it kept people guessing. Some fans think it was a creative decision to keep things light and funny. Others believe it helped make the father-son relationship stand out more. Whatever the reason, it worked. Not seeing their mom didn't take anything away from the show. Instead, it made the Wayans family feel even more entertaining and gave us something to laugh about every time Pops or the brothers mentioned her. The Wayans Bros. Mom might have been a mystery, but she was definitely unforgettable. The show also had some interesting behind-the-scenes moments. For example, did you know Marlon Wayans was supposed to play Robin in the Batman movies? He missed out on the role, but he brought a bit of Batman to his sitcom. Adam West, the original Batman from the 1960s TV show, made a cameo in Season 3 as a TV show host. You might know Scott Baio from Happy Days or Charles in Charge, but he also directed 4 episodes of The Wayans Bros. In 1996. His work on the show even opened doors for him to direct other black sitcoms like The Jamie Foxx Show and The Parkers. Glynn Turman, a well-known actor from Cooley High and A Different World, directed several episodes starting in season 3. He later worked with Marlon again on the Netflix movie Sextuplets. The mystery of the Wayans brothers' mother adds to the charm of the show. By keeping her off-screen, the writers let viewers use their imagination while focusing on the wild and funny antics of the rest of the family.
He said you was whack. He said that. He said Vanilla Ice was better than you.
The Wayans brothers used to be everywhere. Back in the day, they were on TV and in movies, making everyone laugh. But now you don't see them as much. And you might wonder why. It all started with their hit TV show In Living Color. Keenen Ivory Wayans was the brains behind it, and it made the whole family famous. After that, the brothers moved on to making movies. Keenen starred in A Lowdown Dirty Shame. Shawn and Marlon teamed up for the hilarious Don't Be a Menace to South Central while drinking your juice in the hood. In the 2000s, they had even bigger hits like Scary Movie, White Chicks, and Little Man. Marlon starred in a lot of those, but as time passed, their comedy didn't connect with people the same way. By 2009, their movie Dance Flick didn't do well at all. It cost $25 million to make, but didn't even earn that back. The world of comedy started to change. Keenen once tried to bring back In Living Color with a new version, but it didn't work out. He said, "We're in a different time now." It seemed like their funny, over-the-top style wasn't as popular anymore. The Wayans brothers didn't disappear, though. They're still around, but they aren't in the spotlight as much. Times have changed, and so has comedy, but their old work is still loved by many.